All right, let's get talking about expanding Buffalo's metro rail. That's what I'll be talking about, and the fact that I think it should be expanded. So let's start off with a little bit of history about the rail. So first was approved in 1975, broke ground in 79, and then the above ground section opened in 1984, 5 years later, and then following another 2 years, the below ground was finally opened and completed in May. Currently features 13 stations, 8 of those are below, 5 of those are above. As we know from riding it, the above ones are free. It would be a full ride for all those 8 stations is about $2 one way, so $4 to go up and down. And it features about 15,000 riders per weekday, and that was in 2015. Obviously it changes based on season and all that, but it's about 15,000 average. Some shortcomings of the rail currently. First, we gotta talk about segregation. It definitely splits ethnic groups along Main Street, splits businesses, and all that good stuff. Here's a map of the line. I guess it's really more of Main Street line, but as we know, the Metro Rail goes along Main Street. It's a little blurry, so please bear with me. In the green, we see it's primarily black neighborhoods. Blue, we see white neighborhoods. This is as of the 2010 census. And you can see it's a pretty fine line of division on Main Street. So this Metro Rail definitely helps to enforce that line. And then another shortcoming of it is the population. So between 1955 and 2015, there is 50% population loss in Buffalo. I have a graph here that highlights that. But if the city of Buffalo continues to decline in population, then there's no point for a metro rail. That's partially why the rail is the way that it is. It was originally slated to be bigger. It was originally slated to go into the south towns, north towns, but with the population loss over the construction period, it turned into what it just is now. And thirdly, talking about traffic, does it really alleviate traffic? You might say yes, that's 15,000 cars that are on the road every day for the average weekday ridership. However, those are generally people who are already easily facilitated by the rail. Those are going to be people who live in the neighborhoods near the rail. And if you ever go to a special event downtown, traffic still gets bad. There's still a lot of people who come from the general suburbs and out of town that don't use the metro rail at all. That's for a daily job, also for special events. So how much does it really alleviate traffic? And then looking at some expansion proposals, we're going to first look at the picture on the right. So the one on the right is what the original construction plan was in 1975. So as you can see, that harsh line was phase 1. And we did that all the way up until the south campus. So from down in downtown, probably the Cathedral Park station, all the way up to South Campus. That is what has been completed. That's the 6.4 miles that we currently see. They did not go on to do Sheridan, Maple, Sweet Home, and the rest of that line does not go to North Campus, and there's no phase 2 or future plans that were done. Looking over at the left side, you can see what the majority of the expansion plans would like. So the CRT is who did this, Citizen Transit. They are the people who are really the ones promoting the city of Buffalo to increase the metro line and ridership and all that. So in black, we see it's the main line. That is what is used currently. We can see there's a Tonawanda line in pink, and UB Amherst line that go up to North Campus in blue, and the red color that is all the way to the airport. Worth noting that airport line crosses the intercity rail, which goes to all the East Coast, like New York City, Boston, etc. And it also goes through the Walden Galleria Mall. And then looking at this green line, you have the South Towns lines, and those are what's going to get you to Chicago. And I failed to mention the Tonawanda line crosses the Toronto rail line, so that's one way to get there as well. What is cool is that it's all different areas of Buffalo that go into the general Buffalo city area, so it's all the greater Niagara region into the Buffalo area. What I think should happen, and this is what I think should happen in the order. The first one you see, I think we should add that little green blimp before it gets to the Buffalo Creek. Currently, there are plans as of January 2020 to add a little bit past the current end. So that would be past the special events by downtown and KeyBank. It would be past the line where all the cars convene. To go by the medical campus, add 1 or 2 stops, so be another park and ride down there. As you might be familiar, we have a park and ride at the south campus and also at LaSalle, but there's no park and ride for going northbound, only in towards the lake. So I think that should happen first to increase ridership of people coming from the southbound area to northbound. And next, I think should happen is we should extend the UB Amherst up to that line, going to UB North, possibly even the I-990. And I think that should happen for a few reasons, but we'll get on to that. And then third, should be this airport line. As I mentioned, it gets you into New York City with crossing that rail, so there's a potential for a stop there. And then also it goes to Walden Galleria. That would be great for people who are, not able to get there. They don't have to rely on the buses, which can be inconsistent. And think of all the colleges that are facilitated by that rail. They could go to the mall. Canisius being one, Medaille, and then UB if you do that Amherst line first. Plus the airport, think of all the international out-of-state students that could use it as well. Now, let's talk about the drawbacks first. Obviously, you have money. So going back to that little parking spot, I think you should add by the medical campus. That's currently stationed to be about $1.2 billion, and that is currently approved, so they're working on that. But just thinking about the study in order to get this going, it's about a $6 million grant just on the study of if it's even worth it. So you're talking a lot of money, and that's just for 1 or 2 stations. So if you add in the UB to do the whole another 6 miles to get up to UB. If you add in the airport, you're talking a lot of money. You're talking a lot of time, and that goes into the second point of time. The original metro line took about 5 years, and that's only 6 miles. So if we're going to add on another 6 miles to get up to UB, that's, you're talking another 5 years. Sure, technology is improved, but it's still going to take a long time. Still got to move people around the construction, got to account for all of that. Then finally, talking about the environmental impact. So that's what all these studies leading up into the construction are. They're all environmental impact. You got to think about the fossil fuel production. You got to think about the carbon. You got to think about nature, animal displacement. You got to think about emissions, all that kind of stuff. Where your materials are from and how it will impact the environment. See if it's worthwhile or not. And then here's why I think we should do it, despite those 3 major factors. So starting with the first station, which is the parking extension by the medical campus, it's going to alleviate traffic for special events. And I'm thinking if you have your people coming in from the Southtown area, they can do the park and ride before that special event. Maybe it's, a mile out, and they can leave their cars there and take the train in. And then also that it frees up the park and rides that are above for more people coming in from north to southbound travelers. And I think it also can further revitalize the downtown Canal Side area. It can really expand out towards the neighborhoods that are by the downtown area, by KeyBank, Canal Side area. That would be overall benefit I see there. And then the second part I wanted to do, the UB North and Amherst extension line, think about the UB student population. At Canisius, we have about 3,000 students that the school / student body government pays for the tickets for everyone. And on a normal year, that's about $250,000. We're going to say $200,000 for easy math. So think about $200,000 for 3,000 students. UB has 30,000, so multiply it by 10, right? And so that would be $2 million every year for UB students, assuming they, go for the same Metro Pass that Canisius has. And that's $2 million annually that you're going to get from UB, and they have to do that every year. You could dedicate that money into, paying off the expansion lines. Plus, then you get suburb expansion. You get Amherst, you get all of those towns that have a pretty big population that will just further get people downtown, whether it be for a job or for amusement, like at Canal Side. And then lastly, airport extension. That'll break the Main Street line, if you will. It'll kind of break, as we saw on that map, that segregation of going through the generally black neighborhood areas. Of course, downfalls to that would be further destroying neighborhoods and increasing isolation of neighborhoods. However, I think I would see as a overall positive, because then it can provide transportation from these neighborhoods into where jobs are downtown. I think that would be a pretty positive. Plus, you gotta think about UB students can now get to the airport. Also, all people who have access to the main metro line, but you can all get to the airport from there. Just think about how many out-of-state students and visitors they get. Plus, it'll pop into the Galleria Mall, which I think is a net positive to not only increase the business of Walden Galleria, but also to get students, and I'm thinking students are going to be the primary users of this, so that'd be pretty cool. But overall, Buffalo should extend the Metro rail line. I'm happy to answer any questions. This background here is an artist rendition of what the UB North site would look like. So, but yeah, that is my presentation. Thank you.